morning, and welcome to another episode of Hard Factor. It is Monday, September 23rd. Our top stories for the day. I'm going to do one about UkraineGate, which is a weird story. You guys heard about that at all?
A little bit. I'm excited to hear about it from you.
I know it.
yeah.
I know it had to do with Hunter Biden.
Right. That's so odd. Trump, Hunter Biden, Ukraine. We'll get into it. Then Pat is going to tell us about U.S. troops moving into Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we're going back to the Middle East, so we pretty much. I guess we need to just buy the Middle East because we're just hanging out there. We're just
We already have a lot of bases. We basically
sounds like a heavy episode.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
But we're going to tackle it in a fun, lightly informed way.
Right.
Right, exactly. The first two are a little heavy, and then Mark will take us to the news buffet of other headlines. Yeah. All right, let's get into UkraineGate. So many of you may be waking up this week to weird news about Ukraine, Trump, and Hunter Biden all combined in the same story somehow. And you probably were completely confused when you first saw that headline like I was. But I'm going to break it down as simply as possible.
Sounds like a graphic novel. The plot to like a shitty graphic novel.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised that I was waking up to weird Ukraine news. That didn't surprise me. The fact that there's Hunter Biden's involved, I'm like, what? I'm confused.
Yeah, he's a real X factor.
Anytime I read Hunter S. Biden in the news and it's not is dead afterwards, I'm a little confused.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that will happen, Mark. Don't worry.
All right.
One day. Well, one day for sure. It all starts with an anonymous, quote-unquote, whistleblower. So this whistleblower, who's anonymous again, reported to a U.S. Inspector General that President Trump had acted improperly by withholding military aid to Ukraine until they would reopen an old Obama-era investigation on Hunter and Joe Biden. The Biden father and son.
Poor Ukraine.
Okay.
Yeah, Ukraine, I mean, they're just caught in the middle of this. That hot tip went to the Director of National Intelligence, who's now supposed to forward it to Congress because that's what you're supposed to do within a week, but it's been blocked by the executive branch, the Attorney General and President Trump, because they feel that presidential privilege has been breached by the report. So you could see that coming a mile away.
Yeah.
You think Bill Barr and Trump are just like, yeah, sure, hand over Oval Office communications.
I feel like this presidential privilege stuff is gonna only last so far. Like it only goes so far. I feel like these things that Trump are doing get worse and worse, seemingly, or like more ridiculous. How long can he?
You're talking about presidential privilege.
Yeah, I'm talking about Pres Priv.
Yeah.
Pres Priv. Yeah. I mean, it exists for every president, and on this one, I don't know. Let's get into how much crazier this is than some of the older stuff, because I'm not sure if it really is. So this old Ukrainian investigation, it turns out that Hunter Biden, Joe's extremely troubled son, who we've covered on the show before, used to be on the board of an energy company that did business in the Ukraine all the time called Burisma.
Okay.
So this is Hunter Biden, the guy who stole his dead brother's family, then left them, and also Ukraine, the country that gave Paul Manafort an ostrich jacket. So seems like there could have reasonably been some corruption going on with that setup.
I agree. Everything that's alleged, I'm gonna think in my own mind is true. On this
is a major jump to conclusion scenario. Yeah.
And let me do a little foreshadowing right here. So Burisma is essentially the same thing as the Saudi oil company that we're recovering in the next story. So keep that in mind.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a giant energy company. It's got political family people on the board and everything. Obviously, just like a nauseating, disgusting global elite ballet going on here, basically. But what happened was
tragedy.
Tragedy. Tragedy for all citizens of every country because we're just under these people's boots. Anyways, Hunter, he was being investigated as part of that Burisma investigation by Ukraine, but Papa VP Joe Biden at the time stepped in to pressure Ukraine to fire the prosecutor looking into Burisma, thus killing the investigation into his own family. And he publicly bragged about it, too. Said that he would withhold $1 billion or they fired the prosecutor got fired.
And this was
he pressured him into it.
This was during the Obama
during the Obama administration. Yeah. And Trump, and with this new one, he has publicly admitted to mentioning Biden on the phone with the new Ukrainian president, Vladimir Zelensky, who took power back in July. But he's not willing to release the complaint to Congress that was filed saying that he, overstepped his bounds by withholding stuff from Ukraine. And he's got Rudy Giuliani and Mike Pompeo making the rounds on talk shows, backing him up on that. And Biden is saying that Trump's only doing this because he knows that Biden would beat him head-to-head in an election. Meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi is demanding that the complaint be made public, of course. And like I said, we'll see where this nauseating global elite dance ends up. But that's the situation right now.
So essentially, the Ukrainians were like, "Help me, please," and Trump was like, "Not until."
Well, that allegedly. You have no idea what happened in that conversation,
right?
Because it hasn't been released, right?
Also important to note, although spelled differently, Zelensky is also the name of the villain in Tommy Boy, who owned all the auto parts stores.
That is true.
Right.
So.
And
bad.
Also important to note, probably the best meme I've ever seen came out this weekend, and it was something to the effect of, I got this speeding ticket, but my attorney, Rudy Giuliani, pled it down to a murder one charge for me.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't know when to shut up.
Yeah. Giuliani, he's been making some mistakes. He's He's contradicted himself several times.
No, it's not that he's just making some mistakes. I have a couple lawyers for different reasons. I'm sure you guys have retained lawyers. People retain lawyers. When you retain a lawyer, you do it for a specific reason. To make your situation better. To protect yourself, not to make your situation fucking worse.
I think, but with Giuliani, Trump uses him as just like a human air horn. He's got him out doing all the shows.
He's like a distraction. He's just like goes off. I also want to call out that I feel sad for Ukraine because they're like the Rodney Dangerfield of countries. They don't get any respect from the U.S.
They don't want any of this.
Not from Russia. They just have to deal.
Oh no, definitely not from Russia.
They just get shit on.
They just got in this story. They get disrespected by the Bidens and then by the Trumps.
They probably had
allegedly
to save up,
right? So it's like
they probably had to save up to make the call as a country to the United States to talk to President Trump.
Please leave us alone.
Please please help us, man. We have no resources here. This
poor
oil company is a joke. The oil is so cold.
Yeah, poor Volodymyr. He's the new president over there, so hopefully he can turn it around.
Gig.
All right, taking it to the internet. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she says at this point, the bigger national scandal isn't the president's law-breaking behavior. It is the Democratic Party's refusal to impeach him for it. And that really made the waves on the internet. So maybe we're looking at Mueller Report 2.0 starting up right here.
I don't think that's the bigger
I'm
scandal.
I'm on board. We could have a multi-year investigation that just leads to nothing.
Yeah, that's what it's going to lead to. They did have an impeachment hearing, and Lewandowski just didn't give them any information. And also, half of this story incriminates the Bidens as well.
I think she's saying filing articles of impeachment.
But AOC, that's your party. You know that the Democrats probably would try to impeach Trump if they could. They've been talking about it forever.
Yeah, what is she talking about?
They don't have much. They don't have a lot.
Which is probably why they're not doing it yet, because they're trying to figure shit out.
I feel like she's got
but Pat, AOC says there's enough, so there must be enough,
I feel like
Pat.
she's got an intern that just clicks a variation of impeach Trump tweet once every 10 hours.
Look, if Trump should be impeached, let's do it. Let's figure it out. But the point is, she's a freshman congressperson.
Look, AOC says there's enough to impeach, so you got to impeach. She also says the world's going to explode in 12 years, so you got to believe that too.
Yep.
So you got to know AOC's right, okay? All right. Anyhow, as a result of all this, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's right, who's wrong. But all I do know is that Elizabeth Warren has now taken over Joe Biden in a poll in Iowa for the first time ever during the campaign. So that's big predicted news.
Let me get in there. Yeah, let me get in there. Speaking of Elizabeth Warren taking over Biden in the Iowa caucus, as a few of us here predicted, that bodes well for her winning the Democratic primary in general. And no matter which way you feel about that, good news, you can bet on it. That's right, by signing up to the completely legal in all 50 United States Predict It via www.predictit.org/promo/hardfactor20 and depositing at least $20. You'll get a free $20 to match with you, and it'll go straight to your account as soon as you sign up. Then you can bet on whether Warren will win the primary or any other of over 250 markets they have. So right now, who will win the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination does have Warren at 46 cents a share to buy yes, which is way higher than the second place person, Biden, who's at a very distant 28 cents a share yes. And that's because the people in Predicted are pretty savvy. So they got ahead of this, even though the polls still had Biden winning or still kind of do. The people in Predicted are like, nah, it's going to be Warren.
Yeah, I bought Biden cheaper than what he's at right now. Yeah. And I kind of want to cut bait and then throw it all on Trump.
Yeah, well,
but maybe. But we're talking about who's going to win the 2020 nomination,
so right?
At a 46 cents.
I think that if
46
Liz
cents
is the
yes
shoo-in,
is pretty good for Warren. You can also bet on will the nominee be Democratic nominee be a woman or a man. Woman yes is at 51 cents share because people are leaning towards Warren. You can also bet on who we were just talking about, who always gets her way. AOC, who will AOC endorse first? That also has Warren as the front runner at 22 cents a share, yes, which is a pretty good deal in my opinion because she hasn't endorsed anyone yet.
Which isn't that weird because Bernie was her guy when she was first coming.
Yeah, but Bernie's
so.
Well, yeah, Bernie is
Anyways, sign up Predicted. I think I added an extra W.
Hey,
predicted.org/promo/hardfactor20. Get that free 20. Start gambling with us, baby.
Interesting thing on this topic, real quick. Elizabeth Warren, at her rallies, she is taking a selfie with every single person, and I think that's probably what's giving her the edge. Where like most politicians will bail out to do it.
She's going to go blind.
She's going to go blind, and she better have a good hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, guys. Let's get into some Iran. Are you guys ready for some conflict? Some U.S. global conflict?
No.
Yes.
If you answered yes, Mark, you're in luck. Will, you're out of luck. That's because the Pentagon will deploy U.S. forces to the Middle East in response to the strikes on the Saudi Arabian oil facilities back on September 14th, as you guys may remember. This news was announced on Friday via a press conference with U.S. Secretary of Defense Mike Esper and Joint Chiefs of Staff Joseph Dunford. Dunford's the military man. Esper is the suited gentleman.
Instead of the less troops like we were talking about, it's more troops.
Talking about more troops.
Esper was also in the military, right?
I assume so, but he's got a slick suit on where Dunford's wearing his full stack, and he looks very pro. He looks like Eisenhower. The attack, of course, I'm referencing messed up Saudi's main oil facility, Bad, which outputs like half the world's oil. The attack apparently included 18 drones and 7 cruise missiles at least.
Damn.
I mean, you got to assume there's going to be retaliation if you fucking piss in the biggest oil producer.
100%.
Biggest oil,
Like,
fucking, yeah.
You can't do that.
100%. But guess what?
It's a slam dunk. It's Iran, right? Or Iran.
We can't say that yet, but probably.
I mean, weapons of mass destruction, Will. You can't say anything's a slam dunk, but that's what it's looking like.
Yes. The event triggered and this is important to your point, Mark, it triggered the largest spike in crude oil prices in decades, and that's just not in the United States. That's everywhere globally. Most all of Europe is buying this oil.
Yeah, everyone's pissed.
Yeah, and it renewed concerns of a budding conflict in the Middle East, which we're going to have, in my opinion.
Blowing up anybody's oil is just fucked up because everybody needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the while, Iran is all, what are you talking about, bud? This isn't me, guy. Yeah, Iran's fully denying this thing. So,
your oil is upset.
Right.
We messed up your oil.
Right.
Come and arm wrestle us.
During the press conference, they love a shirtless arm wrestle.
Absolutely.
Who are the best Iranian bad guys, other than who is the WWE one?
The Iron Sheik.
The Iron Sheik, yeah. There were some good Iranian bad guys, yeah. During the press conference, Esper reiterated that the United States does not seek a conflict with Iran, bullshit, and called on Tehran to return diplomatic channels. He also, he's sitting there being like, we're not seeking a conflict. We are sending troops, but we're not seeking a conflict. Right. He also said that there will be additional U.S. deployments if the situation were to escalate, which we can almost assume that it probably will. Yeah. Now, like, the journalists there did hammer these guys pretty hard, and we're like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about a lot? Are we talking about a little? And they both wouldn't say, and one of the journalists, I forget who it was very good, and was like, thousands would be a lot. We can say not thousands, right? And they were like, yeah, safe to say not thousands.
So hundreds of people.
Hundreds for right now.
For now, okay.
Hundreds of troops.
Yeah, so Esper outlined the main reasons that the U.S. feels driven to deploy the troops, and I'm going to go over them. So reason 1, Iran has been supporting the Houthi rebels in Yemen with money and weapons. 2, Iran has threatened the safe passage of ships in the Gulf of Oman by illegally seizing a British oil tanker.
Tankers,
right? Yeah, so they've been bad boys. And then on the 20th of June, they shot down an unmanned U.S. aircraft that was flying over international waters. And then, of course, the attack on the oil fields.
We were probably breaking the law with that drone. I mean, my assumption is that we were maybe doing something. We were like on the edge.
Right.
Come on, Will.
The question is, why are they being such fuckheads?
Probably.
Yeah. Another thing to point out.
I'm just assuming we always break the rules.
Yeah, we're definitely breaking the rules. Another thing to point out, guys, is that we aren't deploying troops without Saudi Arabian encouragement. The Saudis asked for this help specifically, as did the UAE.
Well, that's why we are deploying them. Because
exactly.
They asked.
Right.
Exactly. But they came out
But how come it's
said,
us and not like the UN? Right?
That's a really good fucking point, Will. Why is it us and not the UN? At the press conference, they did call for other countries to come out and condemn these actions that Iran made.
Basically, like, we're the only ones that got the balls to ride first.
It's not even balls,
come
bro.
join.
It's not balls. It's just a financial arrangement. That's the best way I can see it.
The UN doesn't have, like, the UN has a bunch of countries that could contribute, but they don't have, like, their own army.
But it affects the whole world if they're blowing up the biggest refinery.
The UN doesn't have shit.
No. I mean, guys, it's straight up because we have the strongest relationship with the Saudis, who have the most oil in the world.
And we get the most oil from them.
Right. So there's two things, though, that have caused the issue, if you ask me. And the first is that Iran is fucking crazy. They've always been crazy, and they most likely will always be crazy. And in addition to being crazy, they're very angry. That usually comes hand in hand with having oppressive religious-based governments and not having air conditioning which is also correlated to oppressive governments. So it's like a circular effect.
Back to the arm wrestling thing. I can't prove this, but I think that they probably had like a nationally televised arm wrestling championships.
Undoubtedly.
Got them all riled up.
Like over the top.
Like, yes. So like they just had an over the top Sylvester Stallone like champion, and all the people that had TVs, which is not a lot of them there, probably saw it. And then now
Iran's just on tilt for like the
on
next
one
next
TV
few
per
months.
village,
Yeah.
and like when people are in groups, they get hyped up.
And then they
Let's
then
take
they bomb-
over an
let's
oil
bomb the
tanker!
Let's bomb the oil
Exactly.
stuff.
Not like the Russians who do a slap fight. 2, Saudi Arabia sucks, but we have to be homies with these guys because they have all the fucking oil. And to be honest, they are proving to be huge, smelly, sandy pussies.
Right.
The oil company that was attacked in Saudi Arabia is Aramco, which at one point was a joint U.S.-Saudi company, guys. This is where our deep roots come from. In the 1930s, it was formed with Southern California oilmen. But not anymore because the Saudis completely nationalized it, but we're still kind of their closest homie. These guys have more fucking money than us, and Saudi Aramco has like 1,000 times more money and resources than the second biggest oil company in the world, ExxonMobil.
Trump needs to be turning up the fucking squeeze on these guys because we did the Khashoggi. Well, we didn't. Trump totally denied Khashoggi,
we let them get
like
away
in the
with
face of
Khashoggi.
all facts, right? And then that was just recently, and then now he's sending troops over to protect their fucking oil. Like, I mean,
sounds
hey,
like
they better be paying up.
This is what Saudi Arabia is. They're your rich friend that you don't really like, but when you go like to the strip club and stuff like that, you know, like they'll buy everything there. They'll buy lap dances, they'll buy bottles, and you have a really good time, and you're kind of taking advantage of them as well.
Right.
But then later in the night, they pick a fight by throwing one of those bottles at like the toughest group of tables there, and then you have to fight for them, and they don't fight themselves, and then you're in a fist fight because you're out with your rich dickhead friend.
And
That's Saudi Arabia.
sometimes their cousins or people in their community kill your entire family,
And you're like,
and then you turn an eye.
And they're like, who wants to go on a boys trip?
Yeah, sometimes you add up how many terrorists attacked us on 9/11, realize that all but one were Saudi born. Anyway, guys, let's go do this and protect our fucking interests there. But can we maybe put some energy into renewable energy so we don't have to be on their fucking tip for fucking
Clean coal. Clean coal is
Who
what's
knows?
going to save us, Pat. Don't worry.
All right, guys, let's take it to the internet. Glenn N. Ross says, why are we responsible for these, quote, physical strikes? Well, Glenn, they were physical strikes. Let the Saudis fight this battle. They've purchased enough military equipment from us to defend themselves, to which 9,000 comments said, yep, except for Michael James, who said, false flag. This is what they do when they're close to obtaining your tax records, disclosing devious connections to your handlers and debtors.
Michael James is woke as fuck.
Yeah,
Wow.
There you go.
All right.
James. All right, let's take it to the news buffet. In what has to be the saddest news of the weekend, hundreds gathered in Switzerland to mourn the vanishing of a glacier. The group of people are what I am referring to as the saddest, not the glacier disappearing, which, by the way, it will not even completely disappear until 2030. It's still there, just slowly retreating.
I saw pictures.
Like a
It's still
few feet,
frozen.
a few feet a week. It's still this giant glacier. So they jumped the gun by 11 years and all had to go cry in front of a glacier.
Let's personify that glacier really quick and imagine that if you were an older person in your family,
Yeah, it's like
your
mourning.
family held
It's
a
like
funeral
mourning your-
for you
yeah,
before you were dead.
It's like mourning your 75-year-old parents. Like you know, like
Definitely going to die.
right.
I mean,
They're like, "What's wrong?" You're like, "Yeah, you're getting a little worse." I have climbed up
Thanks,
here countless times, said Matthias Huss, glaciologist at the Zurich University. He said, the people who joined the march, for us, it's like the dying of a good friend, and that's a little bit dramatic. Look, people, we are going to have to toughen up a bit here. The vanishing of a beloved glacier ain't the worst thing that's going to happen in the next few decades, climate-wise or in general. So there's probably an actual death in this town that got ignored for this fucking glacier.
I mean,
Like,
maybe if they're going to fly to, like bad weather situations, maybe go to Southeast Texas.
Soft
a lot of flooded houses right now.
Exactly. Soft corner for all those glacier freaks in Switzerland.
I love this because Mark just realized the benefits of protesting, and because you're talking about it on the show, which is the whole point of why they protested.
I know, but I'm still never going to participate. I still think they're pussies.
Yeah, well, they got their name out there, but not in a good way. And I'll tell you what could make those glacier mourners feel a little bit better, and that is some top-shelf CBD extract to soothe their worries away.
Oh, they need some of this, yeah.
Yeah, badly. And if you've got health concerns, you owe it to yourself to see what CBD can do for you. CBD may offer many of the health benefits of marijuana, but without the high. It's 100% legal and requires no prescription when you shop at cbdistillery.com. That's CB Distillery, not CBD Distillery, cbdistillery.com. Listen to what their customers say. Quote, 5 stars. I highly recommend CBD to everyone. It's done a complete turnaround for me. Another customer wrote, excellent product. Makes a big difference in my health. And another one said, I will never do without CBD. It worked 100% for me. If you haven't tried CBD for whatever health concerns you have, you really should. Where you get your CBD products is crucial. With independent lab tests and nearly 250,000 customers, cbdistillery.com are the folks I trust. And like about their lab tests, like it's cool. CB Distillery ships you your extract with the report of what's in it, like, you know, like terpenes and the different types of, I don't know, like cannabinoids that are in there, just like you would get with THC, like a high quality THC product.
Right.
So, you know, you're getting the real stuff.
And the point is on that, it's like CBD will just make you feel good. So get it, and, and you'll kind of figure out what it's treating.
It's one of the things. Like it'll make you feel good if you have injuries. It can help you if you have serious illnesses.
Yeah,
potentially.
It can help treat premature ejaculation. I found.
Oh, there you go. That's a big
nice. That's an added bonus. Yeah, but anyway, so this stuff you can see exactly what's in it. So it's good. You got health concerns, you owe it to yourself to see what CBD can do for you. Go to cbdistillery.com and enter FACTOR for 20% off. Again, FACTOR, that's code FACTOR for 20% off at cbdistillery.com, cbdistillery.com.
Nice. All right, let's go to a segment that will really pique Will's interest here. It's the Space Corner. First up, Elon Musk's SpaceX Silvertrode rocket, the Mk1, is getting a facelift. Basically, the silver shaft is getting 2 space wings or fins attached to either side, which is brand new because previously the fins were going to serve as legs, meaning it was going to be a fin, but it extended all the way to the bottom of the rocket and served as a leg.
On.
Right, it stood on them, and it also served as the fin. Now the fins are going to be pulled up, and they're going to have separate legs that are only for legs and only the fins.
Oh, really?
The fins like actuate the ship and rapidly move, and so that's what helps it steady the ship when they land in any atmosphere or any surface, like re-emerging into the Earth, for example. So Elon went to Twitter to explain the design changes, but also added that he hadn't fully bought into the updated design, but was told by his engineers that separating the legs and fins would actually be a lighter solution than combining them. So I'm sure that makes those engineers feel real great, that he just had to like smash them a little bit on Twitter. And the reason
he's setting up that was a cover your ass move, like plausible deniability. I didn't approve those wings.
Right. When
it fails.
When the ship explodes, he's like, if the legs and fins were attached.
As a leader, being confusing and
that's the best way to do it
to your team, is what motivates them.
You're always right. Yeah. You're never wrong. Musk is rushing to get the Mk1 rocket built by Saturday, September 28th. However, when he meets to present an updated design review in Boca Chica, Texas, SpaceX will be live streaming that presentation, and maybe if we are done with Tribune Festival, we should head over there.
I think we should go there either way.
Yeah,
it's about a 3-hour drive from us. We can make it.
We can do it.
By the beach, Will?
Let's do it. In other space news, the storming of Area 51 was a complete bust other than a few of the nerds that probably should have been leveling up their characters in whatever MMORPG they play got to spend some time with the Wonton Donnie Does, who was filming there. They probably really let those teams down, though, and WoW or whatever.
One picture he had of him and Vibs, they were the only 2 people like in eye shot. You couldn't even see another person. It
Not
was
a lot
just so
going on
desolate.
there. I saw the porn star dressed as an alien on his video. Also, in asteroid and comet news, scientists are saying that they found the location of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs recently. Like a few weeks ago, they said it landed in the Yucatan Peninsula in the ocean or whatever. Caused an ice age. They found some interesting materials from the Earth's surface or the ocean surface, but that's not what we're talking about here. This part I need to direct to the glacier freaks in Switzerland. You might want to listen up, you pansies. Apparently, you don't need an asteroid to hit directly into the Earth to cause an ice age. And that's because...
Because that would also kill everything like the dinosaurs.
Correct.
Right?
You can do an ice age or a partial ice age, cool down the Earth with space dust, which happened 466 million years ago, apparently, according to scientists, when a 93-mile-wide asteroid broke apart between Mars and Jupiter. Didn't even come near hitting Earth, but it caused all sorts of space dust to block the sun making its way to Earth, and then that caused an ice age. So it sounds like we need to block the fucking sun. That's basically it. Like, we keep poking holes in the atmosphere and the ozone layer, letting more sun in instead of blocking the sun with space dust.
Actually, you're going to need a lot of gas because you're going to need to do a light, Armageddon light. Basically.
Right. Guys, I'm not sure if you saw The Martian or any space movies recently, but space dust makes it really challenging to navigate out of the Earth's atmosphere.
Sure. So well, that's going to piss Elon off, but I mean, you want your glaciers or do you want your space dust?
I want my Mars colony. I want both. I want an insurance policy.
You want it your cake and eat it too. Okay.
I don't know if you could do that. Also, another point about starting a new ice age. I guarantee you once you started the new ice age, people would start bitching about animals dying and it being too cold.
Now it's too cold. Now the glacier's too big. Now the glacier's scary.
It would be a serious problem.
Also,
think about the market manipulation, like buying some stock in like Patagonia.
Yeah, how
or,
cold will
or
it
any
be?
Gore-Tex jacket company.
North Face
Yeah.
about to
Oh
get
my
money.
God, man.
It's true. Also, a small asteroid flew by us this past Thursday. Apparently, it was only 20 meters wide. Wouldn't have caused that much damage, and it only got as close to Earth as the moon. But we found out about it after it passed. Thanks a lot, scientists. And
Yeah, what are you? What are
and
they doing?
Why don't we know ahead of time? And Will and I played Drinking Armageddon, which is you just get hammered and watch the movie Armageddon 2 weeks ago, and that's always a good time. And this weekend, my wife and I watched Deep Impact, that other asteroid movie, as I like to call it.
And I watched Fifth Element.
I'm a little. There you go. I'm a little on tilt with the whole asteroids thing.
Yeah, Armageddon and Deep Impact mark sister movies.
Yeah.
Kind of like Dante's Peak and
Armageddon,
Volcano.
right? And it's Dante's
true.
Peak is the better one, and Armageddon's the better one.
Right.
And lastly, Pennsylvania man Jason Muzzicato is now in FBI custody after he allegedly used a drone to drop homemade bombs on the home of his girlfriend.
Ooh, shit.
He was arrested by the police back on June 7th when law officials found 7 explosives and dozens of guns in his home, all of which were illegal for him to own because he had previous domestic violence
Did
charges.
the bomb go off?
Previous domestic violence charges.
Yeah, it's
interesting, Will. The bomb didn't go off on the girlfriend's house, but on the time of his arrest, one neighbor reported that a torrent of nails suddenly dropped from the sky, and others in the area reported mysterious explosions. So he was just detonating all of his bombs as the cops were coming in.
everywhere.
It's just sad the turn that love can make. You know?
Sure.
Because at one point they were in love, they were going to be together, and then like maybe 6 months later he's dropping bombs from a drone onto her
He's
house.
facing 33 years in jail, and,
You
and the
know?
FBI found all of his detonators.
What
so
went
he's
wrong?
fucked. And that's going to do it for Hard Factor. We want to thank all of our amazing listeners for listening day in and day out and spreading the news. Reminder to all those that DM'd us, we are shipping that second batch of stickers out tomorrow, like around Tuesday, that is. So for those not in Canada or Alaska that asked, which there are several of you, you should be getting the stickers by the end of this
And
week.
we can handle Alaska.
No, we can do both. Those-
Canada.
You just have to add a couple extra stamps. So
yeah,
those
and you gotta
further
fill
away
like
places.
an import form. It's a thing.
No,
we'll get you
Well,
there. We'll get
let
you.
us know, Canadian people. We're going to send them to you. You should get them about a week
Can
from
you drive
today.
into America and pick them up?
Yeah. that
Let
goes-
us know that.
We'll ship them to the border. Closest,
No, we
closest
want-
legal port of entry.
We want Canada stickered for sure.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Please remember to sticker the hell out of your local bars and community message boards for those of you that did ask for and are going to receive multiple stickers. And most importantly, have a great fucking day.